Grandmother is dead now. This actually happened over Christmas last year. My family, including paternal, my grandparents, aunt, uncle, and cousins and second cousins were having Christmas dinner. My grandfather brought up that he did ancestry DNA, or was it 23andMe? I don't remember the exact one, because I can barely think about it. It's hard just writing this up. It was really cool to hear what he found. He found mostly Scandinavian spread out over the British Isles, particularly Wales. We knew this part already, but then it was discovered he's 3% Persian. Very small, and probably doesn't mean much really, but cool nonetheless. He's a huge genealogy guy, so he's been working on his lineage. The only ancestor he's mentioned that makes me question the validity of his findings is that we're a direct but illegitimate descendant of King George III. The reason why I question this is King George III is recorded as one of the few kings who never had a mistress. However, he believes it because there's a diary passed down our family from the brother of this woman who supposedly was a mistress of King George III. We are descended from the woman. He mentions traditions and the honor, etc. 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 Anyway, off topic. I thought it was fascinating, and I love hearing what he's found. I brought up possibly using my Christmas money, we get money from them instead of gifts, to get one of these kits. I don't think I was really going to do it. I usually use the money to pay bills. Silence. And it was that thick, uncomfortable silence. Everyone but me, my sister, our husbands and parents left the table. My sister and I look at each other quietly, wondering who's the half-sibling. My parents haven't said anything yet, and trust me, this is a complete surprise that it would even be an issue. We look like our parents, the only thing that's different is my eyes. I have weird hazel eyes that can shift from bright green to a weird shade of blue with an amber ring around the iris in light or because of the outfit of the day. My sister has hazel eyes too, but hers are just a green/brown color. I always just figured it was one of those things where it was a recessive trait that just decided to pop up in me. I never really thought much about it unless my sister whines about how it's not fair I have such cool pretty eyes. Well, okay. Dad starts first. Dad, D, Mom, M, Sister, S, and me. D, there's a chance 3R3R_G0RD0N, that you're not my daughter. S and me, imagine that wide-eyed stunned look. My sister grabs my hand, I love her big sister ways. Me, okay, D, your mom never had an affair. This isn't some cheating story. Me, wah. I start to feel very sick. M, I hoped to never have to tell you this. I was raped. The reason we're not sure is because your dad and I had sex earlier that day. Me, I want to die, I start crying. Everyone else knows though, if they left the table. D, your grandparents know. S, okay, well, the guy is in jail, right? M, no, they wouldn't move forward with the case. Me, he's still out there. S, but obviously we're far away from this guy, right? My dad and mom look at each other. M, it was my brother. I felt so sick. I felt dirty. I had to run to the bathroom to throw up. I couldn't stop shaking. My sister came into the bathroom with me and we just cried. We probably should have been with my mom then too, but we weren't thinking. Our husbands were just stunned and quiet. The rest of the vacation was just weird. If it weren't for my nephews, I'm pretty sure I would have just gone home. Oh, my nephews are wonderful. Well, we came home, and I had to battle with the do I want to know. Thoughts? I could get a DNA test. But I couldn't do that to my parents if it came out wrong. But it weighed on me too much. I had to know in order to move forward. So I asked my dad if he would submit his DNA with mine. We weren't going to tell my mother if it wasn't the outcome we wanted to save her the grief. It was hard asking him to not say anything to her. He should be able to talk to his wife. So we submitted the test. I am my father's daughter. I cried when I got the results. It was a huge weight off my shoulders. I made a decision not to tell my dad. I wanted to surprise them. I kept saying I hadn't gotten the results back. I did tell my sister though. I gave them the piece of paper on Mother's Day. I was going to wait until Father's Day, but I couldn't. So I got a blank card. Inside I wrote, "Mom, open the paper." She opened it and I had written Happy Mother's Day, and Happy Early Father's Day. Lots of hugs and tears that day, yeah. Thank God. Edit, left out half a sentence, oops. It was my uncle on my mother's side. I have met him. My sister and I were never without our mom or dad in the room if he was there. Family did sweep it under the rug, because there is a much longer history between him and my mother. My parents did try to get him charged, but the prosecutor wouldn't go through with it. 2 sperm donors created reasonable doubt even though yes it was her brother. Incestuous relationships happen more often than we think there I guess was his reason. Plus my maternal grandmother and the rest of them didn't believe her. My mom didn't go no contact until 2005 when the straw finally broke the camel's back. Why that long? I have no idea. Those are her reasons. She did resume contact a few years ago BC. My grandmother was dying. I guess there was a big talk and she begged for forgiveness. Grandmother is dead now. This happened in Louisiana. Edit 2, mods, if this isn't considered appropriate for this sub, please feel free to take it down. I thought I fucked up by the secret coming out in the first place. But it is a happy ending. I leave it up to you glorious mods. Too long didn't read. I found out I could have been the product of a rape by my uncle. Anxiety and tears ensued. Found out I am my father's daughter. Surprised them. Happy ending. Pretty amazing story. Sorry for the nosiness, but does your family still have a relationship with the uncle? Sounds like a pretty complicated situation, and obviously a terrible one for all of you. Glad you figured out you were your papa's sperm. It crazy to hear about a grown woman being raped by her own brother. Especially the same day she had just had sex with her husband, like WTF. Man, all we found out doing those is that we have more Neanderthal DNA than 99% of the population. Then, it shows. I am in awe of your parents. In their position, a lot of people would need to know. But they just decided that you were theirs and loved you regardless of your possible sperm donor and the awful circumstances surrounding your conception. This is one of the best stories I've read on here. Direct but illegitimate descendant of King George III. This must be something they're trying to sell with their kits, because my highly open to suggestion father is now somehow convinced beyond a doubt that we are directly descended from a mistress of Henry VIII. It's more so that once you go back a few hundred years, everyone in Europe, and extension Americans from European descent, will be related to at least one monarch in some way, because family trees branch out and intermingle constantly. Today I fucked up by my wife and I referring to Noah as the N-word with our 12-month-old son and having Child Protective Services called on us. So my wife and I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. When our 1-year-old is up to mischief and we tell him no, he immediately looks up at us and starts crying. It's actually pretty adorable. In order not to upset him, we frequently refer to it as the N-word when he's around. Q 2 weeks ago when our 4-year-old is in daycare and telling all his friends and the teacher that mommy and daddy use the N-word all the time and it upsets his brother and makes him cry. Teacher berated my wife and told her we were horrible people and didn't really get it when my wife explained that it was a big mix-up. We also got Child Protective Services called on us anonymously. Think it's the teacher, but it may have been a parent. Too long didn't read. Everyone at our kids' school thinks we are constantly throwing the bad N-word around our sons and are horrible people and parents. Hello community. Please remember to keep your conversations and words civil. All variants of the N-words will result in a ban even if used in reference to memorable phrases and such. Thanks. Dash. Edit, seems like a rowdy bunch, enjoy the HD read instead. Something very similar happened to us when our son was about 3. He went to daycare and cried because his daddy beat him this morning. Thankfully the teacher knows us, and didn't jump to conclusions. When she asked my husband what our son was referring to, he said breakfast. That morning, my son and my husband raced to see who would finish their cereal first. Husband won, he beat him in the race. Could have gone so much worse. If they stopped to think about it for even a minute, they would realize that it would make no sense for a 1-year-old to get upset by people using the racial slur because they wouldn't even know what it meant. Don't feel bad. When my daughter was in kindergarten, she started telling everyone that she saw me kill her big fat cousin Carson, and bury him in the yard. Not only did that absolutely not happen, but she doesn't even have a cousin named Carson. Thank God, when she started I told the teacher about her active imagination, but the teacher definitely called me. As if I would admit to killing Carson's fat ass if I did do it. My manager was yelled at due to a similar situation. Her daughter was really into superheroes and would say she had superpowers every day based on her outfit. So purple shirt equals purple power, red shirt equals red power. It was okay until she wore a white shirt to daycare and told everyone she had white power. I want to vomit at the thought of an adult being so naive as to accuse a small child of being racist. Especially an adult that is supposed to work with children. Today I fucked up by ejaculating in front of my girlfriend's mother. Now this today I fucked up didn't happen today, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I am still struggling to come to terms with the embarrassment, for both me and my girlfriend. So, a few weeks ago I was at my GF's house. Usually the plan when I go is I sit around with her parents for around 30 minutes to 1 hour or so with just general chatting etc. Then we go off to her room to watch TV, play games and other stuff. Everything was normal. I chat to her parents, then go up to her room with her and start watching general TV. This is where the fuck up happens. After around an hour or so, me and my GF were bored and she was feeling pretty horny today, not normal behavior, especially whilst her parents are home, and begins to undress me and start giving me a hand job. I'm enjoying this more than I ever have, most likely because of the risk factor involved with her parents being home, which just made it feel so much better. Although the risk wasn't huge, because her parents have never disturbed us once since I started going there, they just leave us to it, but still, the slight risk just made it feel really good. She starts kissing my chest, then down to my waist, and then starts sucking my dick. Literally within less than 30 seconds, I'm already ready to release my load. I try to get her to slow down and stop to save my embarrassment from prematurely ejaculating, but I just can't, it feels too good. Right on cue, her door starts to open, so my girlfriend quickly stops. In walks her mother to ask us a question about going out for dinner together. She instantly gets an eyeful of my girlfriend on her knees on the bed next to my dick whilst I'm there in my birthday suit. My girlfriend stopped, too late though, so whilst she's staring at her mum in shock, who's staring at both of us in even more shock, I release my load all over my body in front of both of them, and she wasn't even sucking my dick at the time. Not only was it a ruined orgasm, her mother also got to see the final credits. Her mother didn't even say a word, she just walked back out and closed the door behind her. I sit there completely naked, covered in my own cum in just pure embarrassment. My girlfriend went to get me tissue to sort myself out, and then I hid in her room until they had gone to sleep and it was time to leave. Although me and my GF are still together, I haven't been back or spoken to them since. Frown. Too long didn't read. GF was giving me a blowjob whilst her mother walked in. She stopped, but it was too late and I ejaculated all over myself in front of both her and her mother, whilst in my birthday suit. Hashtag look mom no hands. Well, that'll teach her to knock next time. Ejaculating in front of the mom. Asserting your dominance. She calls me daddy now. I'm convinced Reddit has an incest enthusiast who writes half of these posts from throwaway accounts. From now on she's your mother-in-law.